Okay, so it looks like we're live. Welcome to Love and Money Secrets. Welcome to Love and Money Secrets TV. I'm your host, Dame Lillian Walker. And today we are going to do a session here on how to visualize during meditation, how to imagine. We have Robin who posted in our group here. She said, I'm not sure if this question is inappropriate for this group. If it's not, hopefully this is all fine. I'm unwell with symptoms of MS and I have just discovered Dr. Joe's work. However, I feel like this is way over my head and something I cannot achieve myself. Meditation feels far out of reach for me and I struggle especially with visualization. I just can't seem to create any and imagine in my mind. Where do I start? And how do I find a practitioner that works in my area? Thank you. So I want to address this issue because I keep on getting private DMs. I get this post obviously also in groups, and I get a lot of Quora questions, quite a few. I think we're up to, I don't want to say that all 14,000 questions. It's like 13,000 and change every month that ask questions that are related to any area of not just health, but also about meditative practices and healing modalities. So I want to go over this because it's really something that we all do have the capacity to do. And it is an illusion that we do not have that we don't have the capacity to visualize or to imagine. So I want to talk about first, she says that she's unwell with symptoms. So a great deal of people who go into meditation do it for the healing aspect. If it's not physical healing, sometimes it's emotional, psychological, or spiritual healing that needs to be done. And most cases it's both, because the two are inextricably linked together. If you didn't know that yet, be aware that that is in fact the fact. She also says here, she feels that this is way over her head and something I cannot achieve myself. That is your ego, your egoic mind that is trying to keep you in the familiar past. So let me share with you one of the first precepts that I really wish somebody had languaged and specifically, now I'm thinking that maybe I should be drawing some of this out, but the bottom line is I'm going to go ahead and switch our screen and we're going to stop the screen share and we're just going to go to full screen here. So the first thing I want to express to you is the fact that we all have imagination. It's impossible for you to be born and to not be operating in this 3D world and to not have an imagination. And we all have the ability to visualize and to imagine, some more than others, no question, but you all have the ability to imagine. And the first test I'm going to give you, and it's not even a test, it's just a little exercise that we're going to do real quickly here. We've all had the experience where someone says to us, okay, I don't want you to think about anything. I don't want you to think about somebody taking a lemon and slicing it in half and taking that lemon and squirting the juice into your mouth. Just by my saying those words, you see what you see, which there is no lemon here, right? You hear what you hear. And most of us automatically have a puckering inside our mouth. And you're feeling the sensation of lemon juice and a little bit of that puckering and salivation that starts in your mouth. And there is no lemon. It's a phantom lemon. And so that is showing you, whether you're aware of it or not, that you have successfully imagined in your inner mind's eye the visualization and the imagination of a lemon. So that is proof that you can do this. So let me explain first about this one precept before we move on to the visualization and the imagination, okay? So the first precept I want to bring to your attention, because this is physiological, it's scientifically proven. This is not airy-fairy hearsay. This is absolutely scientific fact. You have neuroscientist Jill Bolte Taylor, who wrote the book, A Stroke of Insight. She had gone into neurology because she has a special needs brother. And long story short, here she is a neurologist studying the different aspects and functions and physiology, physiognomy, and the physioendocrinology of the brain. And she had the unique experience of suffering a stroke And rather than being the neurologist that is looking at it from the outside, treating the patient, she was actually able to witness the phenomena of having a stroke, being in recognition that she was experiencing a stroke. And because she understands what the right side of the brain does as opposed to the left, she understood from an inside awareness of what was actually happening. And she witnessed and saw the distortions and the perceptions that normally are in contrast to what was. Okay. And so one of the things that we now scientifically know is that consciousness actually resides on the right hemisphere of the brain, physiology wise. So the right side of your brain, which is also your intuitive side, it's also your creative side, your spatial recognition, it's all on the right side. Your left side of the brain is your analytical, critical thinking mind. It's the part of the brain that, you know, based on these facts, it comes to these conclusions. It's the analytical mind. It's also, your ego is also attached to your left thinking part of your brain, not to your right. Okay. And so when you recognize that your conscious awareness is on the right hemisphere of your brain, and the way I picture this is I picture my ego here as a smaller entity, which is trying to tell my physical brain what to do, because the brain is just an organism. It's an organ that we use to run this entire meat suit, head to toe. So the brain's job is to fire and file every thought, feeling, or emotion, every experience that we have. It has a neurosomatic grid, which is basically 360 degrees. You can think of it as a sphere, like a bubble, like a globe that's around you, 360 degrees. And it has we call it VACOG, your visual, your auditory, your kinesthetic, your olfactory, and your gustatory. You have your visual, auditory, olfactory, gustatory, kinesthetic, your tactile, what you feel. You also have your interoceptive system, which is your gut feeling that you have about something, provided that your gut brain is in good health, of course. You will have a gut feeling that is accurate or not. You also have your proprioceptive system, which is your brain filing in space and time as you move forward, to the left, to the right, you move backwards. But as you're moving in life, as you're experiencing this broadcast, you are filing away where in your proprioceptive grid, 360 degrees, your VACOG, that's a technical term, you don't need to remember that, but you have a sphere that's filing away what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you feel with your hands, what you feel with your gut. Like you're going to have a gut feeling as to whether this resonates in truth or if it's a complete lie. And deep down inside, we all have that interoceptive system that gives us a gut check saying, yeah, this resonates with me. This is truth. I'm safe here, etc. You have your interoceptive system. You have your proprioceptive system, which is what tells you, okay, as I'm walking through space and time, as I'm walking down a hallway, I know from my proprioceptive system, I know not to bump into the wall that's next to me. Or as I see a table in front of me, I won't walk into the table. I'll inherently know the distance between the separation of my body and that table so that I don't bump into the table and actually physically walk into it. You know, children who have ADHD, who have autism, who have different types of neurological spectrum disorders, they don't have a good proprioceptive system. So they bump into people, they bump into walls, they bump into furniture all the time because that proprioceptive system is off. So the separation between them and things, them and others, the calibration isn't quite right. So that's why they're always bumping into people, places, and things all the time, you know, so they're hurting themselves, hurting others all the time, and so forth. So, and then you have your mechanoceptive system, which is the integration of all of these different systems mechanically. Okay. So I want you to think of your conscious mind. You're going to think of your ego. And I literally, when I go into meditation, I'm like, okay, ego, I literally hit a timeout button. I'm like, you're put on pause. You're in timeout right now. Brain, you do as I say, because I'm going to command my brain to what it is that I want. And what I want is to stay in pure conscious state. And then my intention is to send blood flow to the right side of my brain, not to my left, because I want to encourage my conscious awareness to expand so that I can be what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. You want to be no one, nobody, no thing, nowhere, no place, and no time. No one, I'm going to repeat that, no one. It's a disidentification with the meat suit, with this body, with the costume that you have. And you're going to totally immerse yourself into your conscious awareness. Okay. So you become no one, nobody, no thing, nowhere, no place, in no time. And you get to that point as you start to do the breath, which you're slowing down your breath, you're slowing down your heart rate, you're slowing down your brain waves. And as you're slowing down, you're becoming more centered and you're becoming more conscious awareness. Now, when it comes to the visualization, in order for you to effectuate and in order for you to improve your skills of visualization, for a moment, I want you to just pretend, to just make believe and to play. First of all, I want you to know that it is scientifically proven. I try to always lace things back to hard scientific facts that can be proven by research papers that have actually been published. But it's scientifically proven that, one, when you have fun, you're 31% smarter than when you're not having fun. So to be all serious about this, we're going to learn about visualization and imagination and meditation, get all serious about this, well, you're dumbing yourself down. If you instead come with a playful attitude and you're like, okay, let's see what kind of fun, exciting adventure here. And what is it that we're going to learn about this? And, life's coming attractions come because of your visualization, your imagination. All of life is created in imagination and visualization. Einstein has been known to have said that it is greater. It's a greater form of intelligence for you to have imagination than it is for you to have regular IQ, because it is in that infinite realm of the unknown where everything is created, where everything, you can tap into all the knowledge that has ever been. That is where life's coming attractions come. Okay, so how do we tap into this? First, I want you, there's a lot of clues in our language, and once you start to look at words and really pay close attention to words, what they mean, what you think they mean, and what you're starting to uncover and perceive that these words really mean. Because there's a lot more clues, there's a lot more secrets of the universe that are really disclosed. They're right in front of our face, but we don't even realize it. There's a reason why we call to spell a word is spelling. You're spelling out a word. So let's take the word imagination. Imagination. So you think of imagination and you think of it's a creative faculty for you to be able to create this wondrous fantasy land inside the 6 inches between your ears, right? Now, if you look at the word imagination, I magic nation, I magi, I as in first person I, magi. What is a magi? Is a magi not a magician? We think of the 3 wise kings. It's like they were 3 wise kings. You have a wise king. A king has a dominion. They are lording over a kingdom. They have a wise king is a wise king. They have wisdom. Wisdom is wise dominion, the wise domination of a particular place or thing. The 3 wise kings, they were wise kings. In some places, they think of the 3 wise kings as the 3 magi. They were 3 magicians. All a magician is someone who creates something out of nothing. That's what you and I are. We've all created something out of nothing. Anyone who's ever started a business before, you start off with the idea, and then lo and behold, it comes into fruition. Anyone who's drawn a picture is a magician, because you've created something out of nothing. Maybe you took pen to paper, pencil to paper, crayons to paper, oil painting, any kind of painting, and you took it to paper or to canvas, and lo and behold, you created something beautiful that didn't exist a moment before until you were in the process of actually bringing it into 3D. So by definition, we're all magi's. We all have imagination. That didn't just come out of, I mean, it really did come out of the nothingness, but you were the channel, you were the portal, you were the open and cleansed vessel that allowed that to come through. You didn't get in your own way. You didn't fight that feeling of whatever that creative energy was. You allowed it to come through. And that's all we're doing. That little tickle in my nose means pay attention. So if you felt a little tingle, a little tickle, a little itch in your nose, that means pay attention. That's the divine telling you, note, take notice. Take notice of what's being said here. The clues are everywhere, my friends and gems. There's a lot of mystery, we think, in our lives, and there's a lot of mystery that's oftentimes right in front of us. So let's get back to this I Magic Nation. So nation, I imagine nation means what you're imagining in motion. It's in the process of being and moving forward. It's not a thing of the past. It's a thing that's in the present and moving forward with energy moving forward. So in order for you to visualize, it's for you to see. There's an actual exercise that you can do. We're going to do a couple things here today, but there's an exercise that I actually have had several people that I know close to me who have actually done this, where they actually moved forward for a specific amount of time. They set a timer, and for 4 hours, some of them were 4 hours, some of them were 6 hours, they actually were in darkness. And in fact, I'm going to show you a mindfold, which is something that you can not only use for meditation, but if you want to pick up one of these mindfolds and actually try this, it will increase your ability to visualize and to imagine. So I wasn't planning on sharing this, but now that we're talking about it, I'm coming from a place of inspiration. So give me just a quick moment. I'm going to get the mindfold so I can show it to you. Okay, this program is not sponsored by Mindfold. This is a Mindfold. And as you can see, it blacks out all light, and it's super comfortable because you have the foam. And you put it on, and it could be in the middle of the day. And so if you're meditating, it's fantastic to use during meditation. If you're going to use this visualization, you may want to, this visualization imagination, for those of you who are bold enough to want to try this, you can do this where you set an afternoon. You can do 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever you choose. I've actually known people who've done this for 4, 5, 6 days. I know somebody who did 4 days, and I know another person who actually went to China, and they went to this, I want to call it a contemplative retreat. And it's with Mantak Chia, where you are in darkness for, I think it's like 5, 6, or 7 days. And the whole objective of this is to not only expand your visualization and your imagination, but it's also to force your pineal gland to blow wide open, so that your transducer, because you are now in complete darkness, now you are able to see supernaturally, because you're using that dimension of, that physical organ in your body, but you actually can see outside of yourself. In meditation, you can do this too, but this is kind of like a crash course, if you will. And so by doing this exercise, people who are blind, everybody knows, anytime you lose any one of your senses, your other senses increase. So people who are blind have increased inner vision, and their sense of hearing becomes more acute. Their sense of smell becomes more sensitive. Their sense of taste becomes more acute. Their sense of feeling proprioceptively, interoceptively, the different feeling sensations of your body become expanded, because since you don't have physical vision, you have to increase your inner vision. Just because you don't have outer vision with your natural physical eyes doesn't mean that you can't see things that are actually happening in real time, which is part of what remote viewing and all of that is all about. That's not what it's all tied, it's all connected together, but that's not the objective of today's broadcast. Today, we are focusing on expanding our imagination and our visualization. So moving forward. So when it comes to your imagination and your visualization, if you get yourself into a mode, an attitude, a place of playfulness. And if instead of coming to the meditation with such seriousness and you're like, oh, and am I going to get this right? And this is like way above my head. This is, way too difficult. And, you're almost in that desperate vibe and energy. It's like, oh, I really need to heal. I really need to heal. It's like, what? Let's come to it from a different place. And it's like, look, yeah, I might not be feeling the best physically, but you know what? I am going to put my pretend hat on and I'm going to pretend and I'm going to make believe and I'm just going to play and make believe. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to make believe that I am this, I am a genie, in a bottle from a land far, far away. And you could imagine being in the most beautiful garden in the world. And you could be, for those of us who grew up here in the States, you could be thinking of I Dream of Jeannie. I remember as a kid in the 70s and the 80s watching I Dream of Jeannie. And I think her name was Barbara Eden. She had long blonde hair and up in a big ponytail. And she had this cute pink and red and chiffon two-piece, swishy Aladdin pants and a cute little top. And she was always bright-eyed and big eyes. And then she had, just pink cheeks and beautiful white teeth. And she was just always so happy. And she was always blinking things on and off and getting all sorts of wonderful, magical things. And so you can make believe that you are Jeannie from I Dream of Jeannie. And now as you pretend and you make believe and you surrender to that idea and just lose yourself like when you were a kid, because all of us played, we make believed, we pretended when we were kids, we pretended that we were, cops and robbers with our siblings, with our brothers or sisters, or if you didn't have brothers or sisters, you played with your neighbors, the kids in the neighborhood, and you made believe that you were cops and robbers and you were chasing each other. And, maybe you were the cop and they were the robber and you were like, actually my brother and I, we actually made rubber band guns. And so you're like shooting with these rubber band guns, but maybe you didn't have a rubber band gun. Maybe you were just using your fingers and you're going pow, 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 pow. And it isn't long before you actually believe that you're actually shooting them because they're reacting, and so forth. And you're lost in that world until all of a sudden your mom says, it's supper time. You got to come inside and, it's getting dark. It's time for dinner, go in, wash your hands, da, 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 da. And then you snap out of it and you're like, oh, up until that moment, you were lost in that world. And sometimes maybe the first time you didn't hear, maybe the second time you didn't hear, maybe it wasn't until the third time that you actually even heard. The same thing is true when you're watching, you could be grossly immersed in a TV show. You're watching, let's say one of the Star Wars movies, and you're like totally relating to the characters in the movie and you're feeling what they're feeling and you're feeling suspense and you're feeling fright and you're feeling excitement, and even your heart rate will start to, your heart rate will start to race. And that's because your imagination is totally entranced and you're engulfed and immersed in this experience in a different dimension. It's not real. Your body doesn't know it's real. Your imagination doesn't even know it's real. Your brain doesn't know it's real. It just knows that it's having this experience. And so you're going to do the same thing in meditation. So play, pretend, make believe, whatever it is. You can make believe that you were the most masterful meditator that man has ever known since the dawn of time, and that you have super magical powers, and that you have this incredible ability that on the count of 3, every single time you go into a deep trance state where you immediately become, you don't have to remember the list. I'm no one, nobody, no thing, nowhere, no place, and no time. Just know that you don't feel your body on a count of 3. If you want to do a count of 10, When I started commanding my brain to go into theta state, I would do it on a count of 10. And then I realized it's like, I don't have to do all the way 10, although there are benefits to doing a count of 10 because you're doing 10 deep breaths, which are alkalizing your body. But if you're going to be in the whole meditation, you're going to be doing that specific deep breath where you inhale and your exhale is twice as long as your inhale. So then what difference does it make? So then you just command it that it happens on 3. And you feel yourself go boom into that theta state. And if you want more instruction about how to get into theta state, check out my video on how to get into theta state. It's very specific. And I tell you what it is that you need to do to get into theta state. It's very simple, and you will notice a shift in your body. And then after a while, you'll even stop feeling the shift in your body. You just know that you're in theta state because you know that every single time you meditate, your body has muscle memory. Your body goes into theta state every single night as you go to sleep and as you wake up in the morning. By definition, as you're drifting into sleep, you're going from a beta state of consciousness and you're slowing down your brain waves down to a theta state, which is 4 to 7 hertz approximately. And then from there, you go into a deeper delta state of awareness, which is an even slower brain wave. And so you are in theta state every single day. So don't tell me you can't do this. You can. You're doing it unconsciously. You're just now choosing to do it consciously. And the only part of you that tells you that you can't do it is your ego that's right here next to your brain. Mind you, your consciousness is over here. Your ego's going, no, you can't do this. It's like, everybody else can do this, but not you. No, your ego wants to keep you tied and shackled to your familiar past so that it can predict based on everything that you've experienced in the past. It wants to predict and forecast your future outcomes. And in order for it to do that with a certain degree of accuracy, it needs to make sure that you're doing the same thing at the same thing, same time, same place, same people, so that you never grow. It's trying to protect you from growing. And it's keeping you on the wheel, the hamster wheel of doing it over and over and over and over again. So your ego's going, what am I doing wrong? 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 What you're doing wrong is saying, what am I doing wrong? Anything that's telling you that you're doing something wrong or is questioning what you're doing wrong or doubting. Doubting is fear by another name. The root emotion to doubt is fear. Root emotion to shame is fear. Root emotion to guilt is fear. Root emotion to unworthiness is fear. Root emotion to any negative emotion that is anything other than love is fear. That's your ego. That's your ego's job. So once you recognize that, then you're like, okay, so all of those feelings that make me feel like I'm not good enough, I'm not doing it right, I'm missing the mark, this is way above my head, only XYZ type of people can do this, only older people, only younger people, only more educated, only less educated, only people who've meditated for 20 years, only those who have studied in person with Dr. Joe at his 7-day advance. Whatever comes after that, it's telling you that you're falling short. No, and that's obviously not true. Because there have been plenty of people, you can find them on all the different forums, all the different Facebook groups, plenty of people who have healed prior to going. Some of them never even go to a Dr. Joe event. There is incredible benefit to going to one of the 7-day events, no question about it. But you don't need to wait. That is like the biggest lie. There's so many people right now that are wasting their lives in quiet desperation, waiting for you fill in the blank. Waiting for going to a Dr. Joe event in person, waiting for the pandemic to be over, waiting for the economic crisis to change, waiting for their Prince Charming to arrive, waiting for their queen or their princess to come into their life, waiting for that new job, waiting for that awesome business, waiting for, wait. Why are you wasting your time waiting? Stop waiting and start living in the now. Seize life. Grab that energy with your 2 hands, with an open heart, and say, yes, here I am. And you know what? I've imagined my whole life. Every single kid in school We drew with Crayolas and with paper, with pencil, with paper. We created things with our hands. They made us do models of this, that, or whatnot. Some kids were spectacular at it because they were innate artists, although all of us were kind of the same, you know, in terms of, if you look at all of our artwork as a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, it's all kind of the same. And then thereabouts are 7, 8, or 9. That's where you start seeing the ones who have, you know, a special talent or ability that really start to flourish. And then the rest of us, because I don't count myself in that category of people who are really exquisite, you know, pencil, crayon, paint type of drawers or artists, or even sculptures of clay or with woodwork or what have you. Or some of it manifests in terms of music. You know, some people actually have a greater predisposition to be more musically inclined, you know, from an earlier age than an older age. But basically everybody has their unique form of creativity, which is expressed in childhood. And then we tend to suppress or to deny and negate some of those things as we get older and older for a whole, you know, a lot of it is conditioned out of us unnecessarily, but it's so, but we can condition it back in. And there's been plenty of people who have been able to take back ownership of that creative aspect and have discovered post 20, 30, 40, even 50 years of age that, oh my gosh, they were far more artistic than they ever had any idea. And that is the creative use, the embracing of the imagination and visualization. So as an exercise, I want you to play, pretend. And one of the things that I have actually done, you know, this is something that is not only going to help you in meditation, but it's also going to help you in manifestation. I've done this ad nauseum with my best friend, and we'll get on the phone and we will do the, oh, I remember when, oh my gosh. So sometimes we'll pick up the phone and we'll start off the conversation with, it's like, oh my gosh, I remember when. And actually we did this before we went on a trip to Alaska. Yeah, we went to Alaska and we went to Canada and we went to Seattle and had an amazing trip. And both of us weren't sure that we were going to be able to do it for a whole myriad of reasons. And lo and behold, for like 10 years, we talked about being able to take a trip together, but because, you know, we're both moms, you know, I was married at the time, she was married, then she was divorced, then I was divorced. There's all sorts of reasons, you know, work, etc., business. We were both business owners. There's a whole bunch of reasons why it was difficult to coordinate us, you know, coming together and actually doing something like that. And we had on our list where we really wanted to go to the Abraham Hicks cruise, whether it was the Greek islands or whether it was Alaska, either or, we didn't, you know, we wanted to do one of them. And so we just started playing and pretending. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember when we got on the boat. I remember when we saw this glacier. I remember when we went shopping at this place in Victoria. I remember blah, blah, blah. And we just played with it. And then about a year before we were actually going to go, she actually called me up one day and she's like, hey, Lil, she goes, what do you think about going to Alaska on the Abraham Hicks cruise in July of 2019? I'm like, oh, I'm like, well, let me see. I don't know if I can do that, but, you know, let's start to talk about it. And what are you thinking? And let's pencil out the numbers and let's get all the information. Let's get the exact dates. Let's see what all the possibilities are. And let's just, you know, and then we kept on playing with the whole idea with, oh, remember when we did this? Remember when we did that? Remember? And then we started to and we're like, wow, this is far more within our reach than we ever thought possible. And then it came to pass. Well, as many of you know, 2019 was a pretty magical year. I gotta say that there was a lot of stuff that I played in my imagination prior to leading up to. None of the stuff that I did in 2019 did I ever think was truly in my realm of possibility, but I played with it like crazy in my imagination. It's like, what would it be like to do this? What would it be like to live in Europe for 6 months? What would it be like to, to go to Malta? What would it be like to go to Sardinia? What would it be like to go to Japan? What would it be like to I just kept going on and on and on and on. The being realistic didn't factor into the equation, not at all. And then all these supernatural things began to happen. And as luck would have it, everything started to fall into place, including my having landed in my hand this book. Let me see. Becoming Supernatural. There you go. Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So the bottom line is that we all have imagination. We all have the ability to imagine in our minds. And as we close our eyes, you may not see, some people do see like a motion, a movie motion picture inside their mind's eye when they close, but not all. And just having the intention that is what you want. You intend. What is an intention? There's so many people who oftentimes in a lot of these meditative forums and practices, they're like, well, exactly what is an intention? An intention is an inward attention. So when you take your attention from being outside and you take that intention and now you have it inside, now you're intending by taking inward attention into your heart space, and your attention is going from your heart space now to slowing down your breath, to slowing down your heart rate, to slowing down your brain waves. And now that you've slowed down your brain waves and you've commanded yourself to go into theta state, and now that you've commanded yourself to go into theta state, and now you are no longer attached to the feeling sensation of the body, and now you are just pure awareness. Now this is the canvas where you can draw, you can create anything. And that is the most powerful realm, is not in the spoken words per se, but in the feeling, the crafting of what you would see if you were looking through your eyes in the 3D. You're doing it inside your mind, and you're making believing as if that has already happened. And you experience it in real time in 5D in the black velvet void. And you feel the elevated emotion of joy and excitement as it's happening. And then like, yes, this is how it's done. And you feel your heart just burst wide open because you're thrilled because you are creating this reality in the 5D. And you're like, yes, 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 this is how it's done. I did it. I did it. I did it. Then you're like, yes, yes, yes. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I'm in so much appreciation. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, the divine. Whatever your deities are, that's between you and your creator. The energy, God Almighty does not care what name you give that energy, but you are one with it. It is one with you. That is one of my mantras. The first day when I was in Cancun, the first day at the Dr. Joe event, the first time we went outside to do the walking meditation, that was the first mantra that was given to me, not by anybody out on the outside. In my meditation, I heard, and it did come from my conscious awareness, it didn't come from my left brain. I heard, I am one with the one, I am the one. And it made me stand up a little straighter. And I said, ooh, I am one with the one, I am the one. Ooh, I like that. I'm one with the one, I am the one. And I just immediately started to say it in my mind's eye. I said it in my head. I'm one with the one, I am the one. I know I didn't say it once out loud. It wasn't until much later, maybe later in the week, that I even said it out loud. So every single time I went to meditate, and every single time I go to meditate now, I say, I am one with the one, I am the one. Make no mistakes. Words are very, very powerful. It's how you direct your intention, your inward attention is through the words that you speak and the words that you think and the words that you feel in 5D. 5D is just your imagination. 3D, you have vertical, you have landscape horizontal, you have depth. So height, width, depth. Time is the fourth dimension, and the fifth dimension is the imagination. It's the dream state. It's that state where you close your eyes and you are in 5D. You are now in that quantum black velvet void, not in outer space. You're beyond you're greater than outer space. So this is that dark black velvet void where everything and anything that has, is, or shall be, it all exists all simultaneously. And that is where quantum physicists have been able to actually conclusively prove repeatedly that the particles, that's, things that are solid like your cell phone, that are particle to particle, matter to matter, that as you observe it, you can change its state. You can change what is, because the observer effect changes the waveforms from particles back into waveforms so that you can mold it now into new particle forms. And this very cell phone was lost, was stolen. This phone was stolen in Sardinia. I got two phones, so I'm going to show you. This phone was left on a plane on Delta Airlines in Victoria, British Columbia. And I will show you, see if I can pull it up. I still have not deleted the text message. The gal from Delta Airlines who you lose whatever at a private airport, not just a private, at any airport, private airport, forget international airports. Things are stolen all the time at international airports. Well, guess what? You can pretty much kiss it goodbye. I manifested getting my phone back. It took me 5 weeks of constant meditation. In fact, I did a video on it. I'm going to have to do a reel about all these different meditations, but basically it took me 5 weeks. On that trip when I went to Alaska, it was in July. I went in July, and long story short, when we arrived, I left that phone. So I was without my phone on that whole trip, which was kind of a bummer. Anyhow, but when I came back, actually the whole time I was there, I just figured, okay, I'm just going to throw it in my meditation. I'm not going to put too much. You can't be too attached to it. I just knew that it was going to, I just know I'm going to get my phone back. So when I came back, I didn't go to buy another one. I didn't do anything. I just kept on throwing it in my meditation. I had other things that were kind of a bigger deal that I was trying to manifest. So I just throw it in there, throw it in there, throw it in there. In the 5th week, I did put another call because I hadn't heard back from Delta. So then I get a call back from Delta. Let's wrap up this thing. She called me asking for my FedEx number. Here's the text message. Let me see if I can show you. So this is the gal from Delta. Hi, Maureen. I just emailed my FedEx account number and my ship address. Let me know you got it. Thanks. By the way, send it priority. She goes, perfect. I got it. I'll let you know when it has shipped. I just checked FedEx site near the airport and they open on Monday, so I will ship it then. I was talking to her now I talked to her on a Friday and a Saturday. Then super, my pleasure, you're welcome, good morning. So then this is Monday, August 19th. Good morning, I have shipped your phone this morning, FedEx tracing number, blah, blah, blah. It should hopefully arrive before happy hour. And then let me show you, let's see, I have a picture of her with her Delta Airlines. This is here. This is her on the plane. I asked her if I could show this, if I could, share this text message publicly. She said yes. And she said, here's a professional one of the last Delta flight out of YYJ. YYJ is the Victoria Airport, International Airport. She ended up changing jobs. And that's why she said their sad day. But so that's just evidence of the meditations work for everything. Who do you know who's lost a phone at an international airport that recovered it? Took me 5 weeks. And what I noticed, I didn't know then, that my manifestations were happening faster as I continued to just stay in the work and do this. So that phone was FedEx back to me. This phone, I later asked God, I asked the divine, I was like, okay, when I had my phone stolen, was this phone that was stolen in Sardinia. I was like, why did this happen? And then the next day, while I was horseback riding, it fell out of my backpack, even though I paid attention to all the message I got the day before was pay attention, don't set your phone out in public, you know, yada, yada. So I had actually taken special interest and care to put my phone deep in my backpack. Well, then something that never happened, my backpack opened while I wasn't just horseback riding normal, it was horseback riding where you're trotting. And since you're trotting, things are moving around in your backpack. So the backpack actually unzipped. Not only did my makeup bag with my wallet and all sorts of others fall out, but I didn't know at the time that my phone had also fallen out and my sunglasses had fallen out. And I think a Kit Kat bar, something like that, or a Twix bar. Long story short, I have video on that too. I'm not going to go take time to show you that. Long story short, I manifested, I did nothing but meditation. And this guy named Mateo actually got me my phone back. I just said, okay, I'm not going to freak out like everybody else because my boarding pass, all my itinerary, all my flight plans, everything was on this phone. So I needed to get the phone back. And lo and behold, cut to the chase, an hour later, as I did my walking meditation, I had also affirmed that men are magical, mystical creatures. And so lo and behold, this guy who's like 25 showed up. He says, I will help you get your phone back. And we verified that somebody had stolen it. It was no my phone because of Google Locator. It's like, okay, your phone is no longer here in the plaza. It's somebody, whoever has it, you could see that they're on the other side of town. And it's like, okay, so let's go to the other side of town and get closer to that person. And we figured it's like, okay, well, maybe then get a policeman and then confront the person. I didn't really worry about those details. I just did my walking meditation. Hour later, he's like, here you go. He put the phone in my hand. It was amazing. I'll show you real quickly just because my WhatsApp, I've got to update it. So I'm not going to be able to actually show you. But anyhow, bottom line is, this is how this works. And I had to visualize, I had to imagine. Now, with my eyes open as I did a walking meditation, slow down my breath. I did the formula again. Slow down the breath, slow down my heart rate, slow down my brain wave. And then I just saw myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, Mateo. Thank you. Thank you for getting my phone back. You're a superstar. You're a rock star. You did it. You made the impossible possible. Thank you. I have so much love, gratitude, and appreciation for you. Gosh, you're a rock star. You did it. And then let it go. And then it came to pass. But I had to imagine it. Even as I'm walking, it was nighttime. I was walking in the dark, following him to wherever he said we needed to go. And I just kept on doing that in my mind's eye, commanded myself to be in Theta State, even though I was driving and then walking. Does that take a little more discipline? A little bit more, but it's not impossible. And if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you can't. And I intended it to. And I did get trained by Dr. Joe at his 7-day. We're taught to do sitting meditations, lying down meditations, standing meditations, walking meditations with your eyes open, walking meditation with your eyes closed. Then you're put through a challenge course. I mean, yada, yada, yada. And I walked away from that 7-day event and I put into effect the principles, the feeling that I had during the different challenges, the different experiences. I took that and walked away and have applied them in every aspect of my life. I mean, the place where I live, it manifested as a result of that. The places that I've gone to, I mean, it really is endless. You have to allow yourself to imagine the visual experience that you will have as you look through your own eyes, as if you were there as that character, and what you would feel in that experience. You have to imagine it and not just see it in your mind's eye, because you're going to be seeing, not like looking at yourself in a movie. You are actually the character in this. It's kind of like when you're dreaming. When you're dreaming, you're not looking at yourself. You are having this subjective or objective, you are the object. So it's an objective experience where you see what you see, you hear what you hear, you smell what you taste what you smell. You're actually feeling and moving through space and time in that dimension as if it is real. And it feels as if it's as real as your 3D reality. And sometimes we test to verify that you're actually in the dream state as opposed to not the dream state. And if you start to play with that, you can even change and maneuver and alter things in your dream because you know that you're dreaming. And then you can morph things so that sometimes you can go beyond what you normally would have. Whereas in other times you would actually wake up in a dream. Now you can continue to move kind of farther along and get more information. And it also affects, obviously, this dimension of reality because it is an aspect of your subconscious mind when you are in that dream state. That's another video altogether having to do with lucid dreaming and astral projecting. So I'm gonna wrap this up now. If there's any questions, comments, or concerns for any of you who want to know more about how to go ahead and expand your ability to visualize and imagine, just play, just come with a playful, this is part of the reason why a lot of the ancient scriptures, the Bible, Jesus talks about, come to me as little children. Why? Because little kids don't have that heaviness, that pretense of, all that seriousness. No, they're like happy and gleeful and excited, and they have that sense of adventure, and they're pretending and they're making believe. They could be pretending and making believe that they're little kitties, or that they're dogs and cats, or that, anything, it doesn't really matter. So come as playful children to this space of meditation, and don't make meditation into something more grandiose. All you're doing is meditation is just knowing yourself. You are just calming yourself down to get into that quiet space of just this delicious velvety peace where you feel you're really in your heart space. You're quieting out all of the noise, and you are connecting with your heart. You're, like I said before, you see what you see, you hear what you hear, you feel what you feel, you smell what you smell, you taste what you taste. You pay attention to the sensations on the inside of your body, the outside of your body, any tingling sensation on your scalp, the tip of your nose, maybe your big toe, maybe your fingers. As I'm speaking to you, notice and become aware. If I tell you right now with the words that I speak to pay attention to your left thumb, notice how you will feel a pressure, a sensation inside your left thumb that you weren't aware of just a second ago. That, my friends and gems, is a meditation. That is a meditative state that you're feeling. You even feel pulse in that thumb that you didn't feel a moment ago. And now, as I tell you to expand that awareness to the tips of the other fingers of your left hand, so that all 5 fingers, now your entire hand, including your palm, you feel the energy in your thumb and your other 4 fingers and your palm. You will actually feel an energy in your hand that just a second ago you were completely unaware of. That is a meditation. If I tell you now, face your hand in front of you, look at the center of your palm. I think that's lingong. It's an acupressure point, or lingong point. They call it in Tai Chi and Oriental medicine. So you want to pay attention to that lingong point, that middle, just the very center of your palm. You will actually feel a more acute concentration of energy in that point just by your looking at it, just by your focusing at it. You might even feel a radiating pulse through your fingers that just a minute ago you were completely unaware of. That is a meditation. If you just continue to take your attention and focus to the energy that is currently in your hand, and you feel it travel up your arm to your elbow, bring it up to, you can go from the top of your head, from one hand to the right hand, all the way up your head to each organ, to your eyes, to your nose, to your mouth, to what you feel. What do you hear? What do you really hear? What do you feel in your throat? What do you feel as you travel down your esophagus, your trachea, your lungs, your heart, down your intestines, to your stomach, to your private organs, your ovaries, your uterus, your private parts, down your legs, your knees, all the way to your toes? That is a meditation. You can only think one thought at a time. As you do that, you are flowing energy from the top of your head all the way down to your tippy toes, and then you can bring it back up again. Then you can start to play with the energy inside your body, outside your body. So if you haven't checked out yet, you can check out the five 555 meditation. It's less than 6 minutes long. It's called the 555 meditation because it's 555. It's actually 5 minutes, 55 seconds long. And it's just a short guided meditation based on, I think it's chapter 3 or 4 of Dr. Joe's Becoming Supernatural book. And it's a very simple meditation that just guides you through. It's a very calming, centering experience. And you do use your imagination anytime that you meditate. So if you have any questions, any comments or concerns, just write. This is an open-ended online classroom. As you can see from the comments of people from many of the videos before, I'm always interacting with you guys on pretty much a daily basis. And so all questions are welcomed. If you have harsh criticism, blame, trolling, I'm going to delete you because what you give attention to persists. What you resist persists. So I'm not into, if this doesn't resonate with you, there's over 400 hours of YouTube that are loaded up every minute. Just click the X. But if you like, love, absolutely adore this content and feel so inclined, please not only like this because this helps other people like yourself find this content, but hit that notification bubble notification bell, so that the next time I upload a video, the next time I do a YouTube live, you will have this information as well. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So that's it. My heart is intending to share with you those shortcuts, those things that I know have helped me, that if I had had more crystal clear communication about these different things, it would have expedited my progress in my meditation journey. So I would have gotten to manifesting with intention more quickly and expeditiously. And that's my intention for you. One last thing. In Dr. Joe's books, I think it's clear as day. He talks about the formula. During his 7-day advance, he talks very clearly about the formula. Many of the YouTube videos that you hear him talk about, he talks about the formula. I've been on live streams with other fellow mystics where they're like, at what time did, it's like I watched I don't want to say which live stream. And it's like, he said, we're going to talk about the formula. At what point I felt like I missed it. He gives a great explanation about everything that you need to know in a very comprehensive manner. So I'm one of the intentions for 2021 is I want to set the intention to always say the formula so that you know with clarity and certainty what the formula is, so that there's no question in your mind. So I'm just going to tell you what the formula is. And in every broadcast, we talk about different aspects of it, but the formula is very simple. There's a little more to it than just the formula, but the formula is this. 1, slow down your breath. The breath is the remote control to your brain. It's the passageway and your connection to everything. So 1, slow down your breath. 2, slow down your heart rate. Okay. 3, slow down your brain waves. That's it. 1, slow down your breath. You want to breathe with your diaphragm. Slow down your breath, slow down your heart rate, slow down your brain waves. And then the next step is to command your brain to go into theta state. He doesn't tell you to command your brain to go into theta state. I'm the one who am telling you to command your brain to go into theta state. Why? Because you can, and your brain has done it for every day that you've been alive since you were born. Your brain has gone into theta state every time you went to sleep and when you woke up. So you want to command your brain to do that which it already knows how to do. You're just doing it now at a different time. You're choosing to do it as opposed to just doing it as a default function of prepping to go into sleep, because that's where you get to program the subconscious mind, is when you're in theta state. And that's why that's important. So now the nuances of doing the breath, focusing your intention, which is inward attention, directing blood flow. That's another nuance that I add in that helped me a great deal and really expedited things, because I know some of the neurosomatics of the brain is on the right side. This right hemisphere is where we touch upon consciousness, Left brain is critical thinking brain. It's your analytical brain. It's the one that's connected to your ego. So you have your brain, your ego, and your conscious awareness. And I want to focus conscious awareness because that's how I'm going to create everything. So 1, slow down your breath. 2, slow down your heart rate. 3, slow down your brain waves. And as you take deep, controlled breaths where you're inhaling and exhaling as slowly as you possibly can. There's a reason why I'm not going to get into it this time, but you inhale 4 and exhale at least 8 counts or longer, as slowly as you possibly can. It affects the left and right brain. I'm just going to leave it at that. Then you command your brain to go into theta state. And now, once you command your brain to go into theta state, now you set your intention and you start to visualize, imagine, and see yourself through your eyes and feel what it is that you're creating. And then you see it and you are in love, gratitude, and appreciation, then you let it go. That is the formula. Okay, without getting into all the neurochemistry about what's happening to your pineal gland. I've done plenty of other videos about that. We will get into it again and again. This one was about visualization and imagination. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I'm going to let you go now. What time is it now? We went a full hour. Thank you, my friends and gems, for joining me today. And tune in, tap into Love and Money Secrets TV. And we're going to have some lucky winners here coming up very soon. From our new subscribers, we're going to go through the beginning of, actually from the second week, I think, of December. Because I think, yeah, we gave away a t-shirt. It went to Maria Mears in London. And we're going to keep it to the US because shipping to outside of the US is crazy expensive. So this is going to be limited. You can win a t-shirt for our sponsor. Our sponsor is NLPpower.com. And it's Dr. David Snyder. And so some lucky subscriber, if you described around the second week of December today is February 23rd. We're going to announce who the winner is, and we're going to kind of go from there. All right. Take care. Thank you for tuning in, tapping and turning on into Love and Money Secrets.